92% of you will fail to achieve your goals this year. So this is going to be an evidence-based guide to making this the best year of your life and to be part of the 8% who smash their goals in the next 12 months. Now, the fresh start effect is perhaps the main reason why we think the new year is such a good time to set goals. In short, this describes how we tend to have renewed enthusiasm and self-efficacy in close proximity to a big temporal landmark, such as a new month, a new quarter, or in our case, a new year. But the fresh start effect alone is insufficient at helping us to make long-term behavioural changes, which is why our goals will typically fail. So if we want to increase our chances of success, we not only want to set the right goals, but we also want to complement those goals with ongoing strategies to support behaviour change and goal attainment. With that in mind, what is the best way for us to set goals in the new year? Well, the classic approach is to use SMART goals, which stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And this has been like a mainstay in goal-setting theory for years. But I think this is a terrible way to set goals. For example, let's say that we want to learn how to code. This wouldn't fit that neatly within the SMART goal-setting framework. Like, how do we know how long it's going to take us to learn how to code? What if we don't think it's that achievable? And what if we don't think it's that relevant to what we're doing right now and we're actually only learning to code because we're thinking of changing careers, or we just want a fun little side project? Like, all of these things would make us think that learning to code isn't actually a good goal to have. So instead of setting SMART goals, which don't really encourage ambitious long-term endeavours, I prefer to set impact goals. First, set inspiring goals. So an inspiring goal is one that we stick to and commit to because of its attractiveness and our belief that we can actually achieve it. You see, goals are pretty pointless unless we stick with them. And typically this means making those goals desirable in some way, that means attractive, and also within our skill set, in other words, believable. This is perhaps a slight oversimplification because something like running a marathon may be both attractive and desirable, but we may not be inspired by it. Like, there are a number of other social factors at play too. So the aim is to find a goal that inspires you. Secondly, set minimal goals. Now, while nobody can tell you how many goals to set, as that will depend on how easy and related those goals are, in general, it's better to set less goals. You can think of your life here like a rose bush. So as a rose bush grows, it actually creates more buds than it can sustain. And if you talk to an experienced gardener, they'll tell you that you need to prune rose bushes to bring out the best in both its appearance and its performance. In other words, if you want a rose bush to thrive, you need to cut away some of the good buds so the great ones can fully blossom. In the same way, if we want to achieve great goals, sometimes we need to cut away the good ones. Thirdly, we need to set periodic goals, and all this means is that we need to set short-term goals. There's this thing called the temporal motivation theory, which tells us that our motivation to work on a goal increases exponentially the closer we get to the deadline. So a good goal would be one that isn't too far into the future. For example, setting a 12-month goal is pretty good, but if we can then further break that down into quarterly goals or even process goals, that's going to be even better. Plus, I find that the more short-term our goal is, the more we're forced to reevaluate and update those goals, helping us to iterate and make incremental progress over time. Fourthly, set an appraisable goal. Now, an appraisable goal is one where we can easily track whether or not we're taking the right actions. For example, we can't just say, I want to pass my exam, because progress towards that goal is like super unclear. Instead, we want to say something like, I want to study for 1 hour every day for the next 4 weeks. Basically, we want to take a yes or no approach to goal tracking, like, have we done the thing or not? And that way we can quickly see whether or not we're doing the right things to achieve our goals. Fifth, set clear goals. Now, the clearer our goal, the more persistent and motivated we're going to be to achieve them. And we can make our goals clearer by writing them down, by making them more appraisable, as we just talked about, and also by breaking those goals down as much as possible into specific action steps. Finally, set tough goals. Now, surprisingly, the harder the goal, the better we perform, as long as that goal is within our skill set and feels achievable. You see, hard goals energize us, and they often imply like more significant achievements, whereas easy goals often bore us because they require less skill. So with all that in mind, here are like a few different examples of different impact goals which you can use to inspire your own goal setting, and also make sure you check out the Notion document in the description section below this video, which you can use to set and track your own goals throughout the year. But setting goals is only half the battle. We also have to stick with them, and this largely involves 3 things: goal hierarchies, systems thinking, and environmental control. First, goal hierarchies. Now, the truth is that we stick to goals that are meaningful to us. Those are the goals that connect to the high-level things that we want out of life long term, and not just right now. And this is why we need to build levels to our goals. Level 1 of this sort of hierarchy then is values, or what can also be called superordinate goals. And essentially, these are the broad goals that we want from life, or the personal values that are important to us. For example, I want to be financially stable, I want to be healthy, or I want to build awesome relationships with my friends and family. The next level of this hierarchy are our intermediate goals based on the values. So if we value being healthier, then our intermediate goal could be something like, I want to lose 10 kilograms by the 1st of June. So these are like less abstract, more specific, and they provide this sort of general direction that bring us closer towards our value or superordinate goal. Finally, the lowest level of the hierarchy are our actions or our subordinate goals. So this is all about breaking down the intermediate goals into specific action steps. So if our intermediate goal is to lose 10 kilograms by June the 1st, then the subordinate goal here could be to go to the gym 3 times a week on a Monday, Wednesday and Saturday after dinner, and then to only eat 2,000 calories a day with all those meals prepped on a Sunday afternoon. But the importance of the values and superordinate goals cannot be overstated. They are tightly linked to our identity and our sense of self, and they represent the why behind the other 2 layers of the goal hierarchy. They also exist over this longer time period, leading to like continuous and ongoing goal pursuit, and also reduce the likelihood of us sacrificing those long-term goals in exchange for short-term rewards that lead us astray. The other great benefit of superordinate goals is that they introduce a great deal of equifinality and multifinality into the goal hierarchy. Put simply, equifinality means that a goal can be supported through multiple other goals that are lower on the hierarchy. For example, if we have the goal to be healthier, this can be supported through efforts to sleep better, eat better, and also to manage stress more effectively. So even when motivation to exercise is low, you can still stay on track with a superordinate goal by shifting your focus to your dietary habits. And this introduces like a level of flexibility that makes it far easier to stick with your long-term goals. Multifinality, on the other hand, means that a single goal can help support multiple different goals that are higher on the goal hierarchy. For example, we may start our day by going out for a run, and this would obviously support the intermediate goal of being more physically active, but it also may favourably impact our sleep habits by helping us to maintain a more consistent sleep-wake cycle and promote more restful sleep. Second, we have systems thinking. Now, the main benefit of setting goals is that it tells us the systems that we need, as it's the systems that will achieve the goal. For example, setting the goal to be less stressed tells us nothing about how to achieve it. It's the system, meditating every day for 20 minutes and writing in our journal every morning before breakfast, that gives us what we want. So once we set the goal, we must then refine it. And that means being as clear as possible about how, where and when we'll be taking action to achieve that goal. For example, we could say something like, I'll go for a run for 30 minutes on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 6 PM at the gym on the treadmill. Or we could say something like, I'll meditate for 20 minutes as soon as I wake up in the morning in my bedroom. And these plans are known in the scientific literature as implementation intentions, because they tell us exactly when, where and how we're going to implement a specific behaviour. And finally, we have environmental control. It's really hard to stick to a goal in a negative environment. Like, let's say that we have a goal to write an article or write an essay, and the TV's turned on, we can hear the kids screaming next door, there's like a lack of light in the room. Like, under those conditions, it's going to be really hard to work and we'd all procrastinate. The impact of our environment on our decisions is called choice architecture. And luckily, there are many ways in which we can use choice architecture in our favour. For example, if we want to make it easier for us to go to the gym in the morning, then we can just leave our kit out the night before. Or if we want to drink more water, we can just make sure there's a water bottle near us at all times. And if we want to stop using our phone so much, we can turn off notifications and leave our phone in another room. Almost every bad action you take is due to bad environmental control. So the goal is to reduce the friction between you and your goal compatible actions, and to increase the friction between you and your goal incompatible actions, making it as easy as possible to do the thing you set out to do. So this is all broadly how I think about my goals, but I'd also love to know how you think about your goals. So make sure you leave a comment below this video, and also let me know what your goals are going to be for the year ahead.